Hello everyone, this is Chung Lau and I am your presenter on BiToolkits for MicroStrategy. In previous session, I demonstrated the power of recursive algorithm used in BiToolkits for change impact analysis. In this session, we will dive deeper and go through a common workflow on change impact analysis. I will show you simple solutions for difficult tasks. When performing change impact analysis, here is a list of common tasks. Task number 1. Get a list of impacted objects. We need to perform a recursive object dependency search. Task number 2. Include all freeform SQL reports. Because we cannot run object dependency search on freeform SQL reports, we need to manually review freeform SQL reports to determine impacts. Task number 3. Exclude objects that have not been used after a certain time period. If you have thousands of objects that are impacted, you want to ignore objects no longer in use and focus your attention on objects currently in use. Task number 4. Create report shortcuts to fit into Integrity Manager for regression test. If you use MicroStrategy long enough, you will agree with me that it is very challenging to perform change impact analysis without automation tools. For this demo, we'll use MicroStrategy's own Enterprise Manager project. For demonstration purpose, let's assume that we made a change in MicroStrategy that is impacting objects using both the user attribute and metrics with the max function. So for task number 1, we need to get a list of objects that contain both the user attribute and metrics with the max function. This task seems quite complex and could take many hours or even days if doing by hand. With BiToolkits, it is a snap. Now on to the demo. In this demo, we will use the BiToolkits Pro version. The Pro version has many powerful productivity tools that are not available in the free version. I already launched BiToolkits. Let's select the Change Impact Analysis tool. Notice the Object Finder tool is on display because there are no batches in the system. We'll use the Object Finder tool to get the user attribute into BiToolkits and then run a dependency search. I'm going to select an attribute type and we can do a search. 7 objects found. It's doing a partial match. Now select the user attribute and make sure the nested level checkbox is selected. Otherwise, it will only return the first level dependence. We need the search to be recursive. If the user attribute is used in the filter and the filter is used in a report, both the filter and the report should be included in the result set. Now click the Dependence Search button. Alright, there are 287 objects returned. Let's name this batch Batch A. Next, use the Object Finder tool to get metrics using the max function. The Object Finder tool is very flexible. You can search with a variety of options. It is integrated with Enterprise Manager, so you can search by report runtime. We'll take a closer look at these options in future sessions. For now, we just want to search metrics that use the max function. Here, all MicroStrategy internal functions are exposed for you to search. Basic functions, comparison operators, internal functions such as apply comparison, apply simple. But for our purpose, we just need to use the basic function and search for the max. And we need to change the search type to metric, and let's name this batch B. Alright, we found 64 metrics. Now select all 64 metrics and make sure the nested level checkbox is selected too. Let's do a dependence search. Notice the pop-up parent-child box. It enables you to view depending objects by each metric. We'll go over this pop-up box in the next session. For now, let's close it. Alright, there are combined 210 depending objects from the recursive dependency search. Notice the result set includes the original metrics. They are highlighted in the green color. The red colored matrix indicated they have no dependence. Now we need to use the merge batch tool to merge batch A and batch B. Let's name it batch I. Okay, we want to select batch A with 287 and batch B with 210. Let's use the intersect operation. Okay, we're about to merge two batches. Click OK. A new batch 005 is created with 35 objects. Objects in this batch have the lineage from both the user attribute and metrics with the max function. Task number 2. Include all freeform SQL reports as we need to manually review these reports. If you use the MicroStrategy search for objects function, there's no freeform SQL object type to search. Fortunately, in BiToolkits, you can search all object types available in MicroStrategy. On to the demo. Let's use the Object Finder tool to search for freeform SQL reports. In BiToolkits, you can search for any object type in MicroStrategy, including subtypes. Let's click the Show Subtype. Here, we can scroll down and look for freeform SQL reports. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different freeform SQL report types. Now let's unselect the functions and name this batch batch F. Let's hit search button. 7 reports found. Now we need to use the merge batches tool to merge batch F and batch I, and let's name this batch U. Batch F and batch I, and we're going to do a union to combine these two batches. Okay, to combine two batches. Now we have 42 objects. Batch U now combines batch F and batch I. Task number 3. Exclude objects that have not been used within the last 6 months. Obviously, your organization may choose a different time period, perhaps 12 months or 2 years. If you have the Enterprise Manager module, BiToolkits will use report execution data to determine when the object was last used. If you don't have Enterprise Manager or an object has never been executed, BiToolkits will use the object's modified date to determine when the object was last used. On to the demo. Notice we are in batch U, which combines freeform SQL reports and objects with the user attribute lineage and with the max function lineage. Select all objects and click the last use button. This last use function is very powerful. It works on both report objects as well as non-report objects. Let me explain how it works. For report objects, if you have Enterprise Manager enabled, it will extract the report execution data from Enterprise Manager. If you don't have Enterprise Manager or reports have not been run, it will use the object's last modified time as the last use time. For non-report objects, this function traces through all depending objects to find out when they were last used. This is incredibly useful and requires a lot of processing. Let's take a closer look at the last use columns here. Let's maximize the screen. Last use time. The last use time is when it was last run. In the case of no Enterprise Manager data, it uses the object's modified time. Last use name is who runs it. In the case of no Enterprise Manager data, it shows the owner name of the object that was last used. Here's an example. AD top end users report. This report has no asterisk next to the name, which indicates last use data is not from Enterprise Manager. Notice the last use username is the same as the object owner name, and the last use time is the same as the object update time, November 15, 2013 at 1:02 p.m. Last use object name, object type, and last use object ID. Let me move it closer together. These are information pertaining to last use by which object. If blank, then no other object is using it. Let's look at a couple examples. Let's sort it first. Let's look at the first report 101 recently completed job. It has enterprise manager data because of the asterisk. There's no last use object, meaning it is an independent report. It is not used as a filter or used as data set in a document. So this freeform SQL report is last used on July 8, 2017 by Chung Lau. Let's look at the CM disable user metric. It's last used by 126.11.1 disable unused users. The report has enterprise manager data. See the asterisk? And the report was last run on June 15, 2017. So this metric is last used on June 15 by administrator in the 126.11.1 disable unused users report. Now sort the last use time by newest first. Let's unselect objects whose last use time is older than 6 months. So all 2016s can be deselected. Task number 4. Create report shortcuts to fit into Integrity Manager for regression test. This is a simple task. BiToolkits can create report shortcuts via Command Manager. On to the demo. Let's create a new batch and call it batch X. Select all objects. Sort objects by object type and unselect non-report objects. Now we're ready to create report shortcuts. Select a target folder. Now 17 report shortcut scripts are generated. If you have Command Manager module installed on this machine, you can click the Run button to run the scripts. Otherwise, click the Copy to Clipboard button to copy scripts to run in another machine. Now review the results for errors. So there's no error. Let's close this window. Notice a new batch is created. A checkbox is checked on report shortcuts that are successfully generated. If a script cannot be created for a report, the checkbox is unchecked. In our case, scripts are generated for all 17 reports. Now let's go to MicroStrategy to verify the shortcuts are being generated, and we need to refresh the screen and notice that 17 shortcuts are generated right here. This concludes our session. As you can see, BiToolkits is powerful and easy to use. It automates many tedious and time-consuming tasks. It integrates seamlessly with Enterprise Manager to fetch report execution data. It integrates seamlessly with Command Manager to run scripts. The Merge Batch tool is available only in BiToolkits Pro version. There are many productivity tools built into BiToolkits. In subsequent sessions, we'll show you how to effectively use various tools in BiToolkits to increase productivity. In next session, we'll take an in-depth study on dependence and component search in BiToolkits. The dependence and component search functions are essential tools for change impact analysis, so it is beneficial to learn how to use these tools effectively.